So, hello everybody. Today I'm going to do an unboxing of Descent Journeys in the Dark 2nd edition Nature's Ire. This is a fully cooperative expansion for 1 to 4 players. For those of you who don't know about Descent, please look at my other video where I explain what Descent is. Because Descent is actually not a cooperative game, it's a game that is played player versus player. You've got one dungeon master and you've got 1 to, I believe, 4 heroes that will try and fight the dungeon master's ideas, or I think maybe it's called Overlord. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter, but the principle is the same. Now, Fantasy Flight Games also decided to release solo playable adventures, and they have released 3 so far. And I believe in the order of release they are Forgotten Souls, Nature's Ire, and Dark Elements. Now, for Nature's Ire and this is my cat. For Nature's Ire and Forgotten Souls, the only thing that you need is the base game. For Dark Elements, you also need the Lair of the Worm expansion to play. So I haven't broken these out yet. They arrived yesterday by mail. So let's see what is in the box. So first of all, the box is really nice, and I will definitely keep it because it's nice for keeping the cards in. So this is the really lovely artwork. You can see this guy looking for treasure, and in the back here you have spiders. We have the Fate and Loot track. So or the Overlord track and the Loot track. Now, when you play the campaign game in Descent, what you do is you get the possibility of buying treasure between games based on the amount of money that you've made. And possibly even you can draw treasures, or you get treasure awarded during the game. I'm not sure because I've never played more than one single game of Descent opposed. But in this game, of course, this doesn't work. So they have replaced it with this loot track. So every time you kill a certain type of monster, this track goes up. And depending on how many heroes you've got, starting from 2, 3 to 4, this goes up whenever you kill a monster as well. So when the track and your 2 players or 2 heroes reaches 4, you gain however many cards are indicated on this track, and then you have to choose. If you play with 3, you get up to here, and if you play with 4, you get up to here. And depending on this, you actually get cards from Act 1 and possibly even Act 2. I don't know if Act 2 is actually played out in these. I've never seen it played out to that extent, because I've only ever watched gameplays of Forgotten Souls, and they also stopped after, I think, the first part of the story. Here we've got peril cards. Oh no, they're not peril cards, they're Desmond cards. So probably in other games these are called peril cards. Maybe they are now Desmond cards. I don't know. I've never played this game, so we'll see how they work. We also have a turn summary and quick reference card. Some information as to what next you should buy. And then the actual heart of the game, because of course the Overlord doesn't exist. It is replaced by a storytelling device, which is these cards, which indicate places. So Misty Gorge, Blocked Gully, Rocky Channel, Abandoned Campsite, Webbed Gulch, River Flail, Hoarder's Lands, Firing Zone, Cabin of the Lost, Choke Point, Consuming Falls, and Beyond the Fringes. So basically how this works is you put them together in a particular order. And the rules for this expansion are not in the expansion. You have to go to the website and download them. And then you basically place these cards in a, at least in Forgotten Souls, it's a semi-random order. You have certain cards that will come at a certain point in time, so it's played out almost in acts. And as you draw these locations, you build those locations. Let's say here, this explains what happens in the Misty Gorge. What the Misty Gorge looks like, which tiles you have to pick is in the rules, and these rules have to be downloaded. And lastly, we have the monster automated AI. And this is a lot like Castle Ravenloft, for example, or Wrath of Ashardalon, where you have monster cards that explain to you what the monster does. So first of all, in this game, we're going to be using Goblin Archers, Ettins, Cave Spiders, and Myriads. Now, the way you play this is when you have monsters on the board and they activate, you start from left to right and left to right. So first the Goblin Archers go, and in this particular case, it's the Master Goblin Archer that goes first, followed by the minions. Ettins, regardless of if it's a minion or a master, they all follow these rules. Myriads, minion and masters go first, then minions. And Cave Spiders, minions go first and then masters. And it tells you what they do. So the Goblin Archer will spot the closest hero. Then he will attack the closest hero in line of sight. The minion will spot the closest hero and attack the closest hero in line of sight. Each attack performed by a Goblin Archer that targets a hero who is within 2 spaces gains Surge plus 3 damage. So if you're 2 spaces away or less, you automatically take 3 hits on a Surge, unless you have something to counter this with. And this is essentially how you play through this. You draw a new one for every monster activation, and each time something else will happen. Of course, if you are playing and you don't have all of them on the board, then only the ones that are on the board will activate, and you will ignore all the other monster activation pieces of information. So, as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards. So 12 different places, so to speak. They all have, some of them have really lovely artwork. I mean, look at this. This is really, really lovely. And they will explain to you what happens and also what the Overlord does. You know, this is very important. So down here you have time, you have little timers. And if you don't solve this particular encounter within 3 rounds, you advance Doom by 1. So that would be on this track. So Doom starts at the bottom and goes up, and Fate starts at the top and goes down. And when the 2 meet and hit the same spot, the game ends and you lose. However, there are ways during the game usually that allow you to retract Fate and retract Doom. So that's the mechanics of the game. I've not played it, so I don't know how it feels when you play it, but I'm going to give it a spin today. So I don't think I'll record today's gameplay because I really want to play on my own and not, you know, think too much about an audience and how will I edit it together. Today I just want to play for fun, but I will definitely do a playthrough of this scenario. So talk to you soon. Bye-bye.